You have been sold a devastating lie. A lie whispered in every self-help book, every motivational speech, every filtered image you scroll past. The lie is that to be strong, you must be flawless. That to be invincible, you must build impenetrable walls around your heart, polish every imperfection until it gleams, and present a perfect, unbreachable fortress to the world. But you have tried that, have you not? You have spent years bricking up the windows to your soul, hiding the cracks, denying the very parts of you that make you human. And what has it gotten you? A life of constant, exhausting vigilance. A terror that one day, someone will see past the facade. A deep, gnawing anxiety that the fortress you have built is actually a prison. The great Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung proposed a truth so radical, so contrary to our modern obsession with perfection, that it has been misunderstood. He argued that the path to psychological strength is not through denial, but through acceptance, not by erasing your flaws, but by integrating them with a terrifying and liberating courage. This video is not about giving you another mask to wear. It is about giving you the courage to finally take yours off. Because the moment you stop running from what you are, you uncover a power you never knew you possessed. A power that does not come from being untouchable, but from realizing that once you have embraced your own darkness, there is no shadow anyone else can cast upon you that you have not already made your own. This is not about becoming a superhero. It is about becoming something far more rare and far more powerful, a whole, indivisible human being. And that is a power no one can ever take from you. So I must ask you, and be honest with yourself in the silence of your own mind, why does a single piece of criticism feel like a shard of glass in your soul? Why do you replay conversations in your head for hours, dissecting your every mistake? Why does the fear of being judged dictate so many of your choices, from the words you speak to the dreams you dare not pursue? You believe the problem is out there, in the cruelty of the world, in the judgment of others. But what if the real war is not outside? What if the enemy you have been fighting your entire life is an image of perfection you can never attain, and the freedom you seek is waiting for you in the very flaws you have been taught to despise? You think you know what your flaws are. You have made a list. Maybe it is your quick temper, your moments of envy, your procrastination, your insecurity. You see these as mistakes, as bugs in your programming that need to be fixed or hidden. You are profoundly mistaken. These are not flaws. They are disowned parts of your own soul. Jung called this vast, hidden territory the shadow. It is the unconscious repository for every instinct, every desire, every weakness, and every potential that your conscious mind, your ego, has rejected in its desperate bid to be seen as good, acceptable, and worthy of love. From childhood, you were taught to amputate parts of yourself. When you were angry, you were told to be nice. When you were selfish, you were told to share. When you were scared, you were told to be brave. You did not learn to integrate these feelings. You learned to repress them, to push them down into the cellar of your psyche. And now, that cellar is full. It is a dungeon of forgotten energies, and you are the warden. You spend almost all of your psychic energy keeping that door locked. This is the source of your exhaustion. The constant, low-level anxiety you feel is the sound of those repressed parts rattling the cage, begging to be seen. And here is the brutal truth. This act of self-rejection is precisely what makes you so vulnerable, It does not make you strong. It makes you predictable. Because you have disowned your own anger, you are easily manipulated by the passive aggression of others. Because you have denied your own need for recognition, you are a slave to anyone who offers you a crumb of validation. Because you have buried your own unacceptable thoughts, you are terrified of anyone who might expose them. Your flaws are not your weakness. Your denial of them is. Each rejected part of you becomes a button, a trigger that anyone in the world can push, intentionally or not, to send you into a spiral of shame, anger, or despair. You are not in control. Your shadow is. It dictates your reactions. It chooses your battles. It drives you into the same self-sabotaging patterns again and again. You believe you are being hurt by others, but the reality is that others are merely holding up a mirror to the wounds you have inflicted upon yourself. The pain you feel is the agony of your own fragmented soul crying out for wholeness. You have meticulously built the architecture of your own prison, and then you curse the world for the fact that you are not free. But freedom is not found by reinforcing the walls. It is found by turning around, facing the dungeon door, and finding the courage to open it. Now we must go deeper, into a territory of human interaction that is so subtle and so pervasive, it governs nearly all of our relationships without our consent. It is the invisible engine of conflict, resentment, and misunderstanding. Jung called it projection, and it is the primary reason your life is filled with so much inexplicable pain. As Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is not just a theory, it is a psychological principle. Because you cannot see the shadow within yourself, your mind has no choice but to see it in others. That arrogant colleague at work, he is the embodiment of the confidence you were taught was cocky and repressed in yourself. That person you judge for being lazy, they are living out the rest and ease you deny yourself in your frantic pursuit of productivity. That friend whose drama infuriates you, they are expressing the emotional chaos you keep tightly bottled up inside. They become the screen upon which you project your own disowned films. You are not reacting to them, you are reacting to a ghost within yourself. This is why certain people can irritate you to an irrational degree. They have not actually done anything to you. They simply have the audacity to be the thing you have forbidden yourself to be. Your judgment of them is a ferocious, unconscious act of self-criticism. You are shouting at a mirror. But here is the other side of this dark coin, and this is where true psychological invincibility begins to take shape. Just as you project your shadow onto others, everyone else is projecting their shadow onto you. Think about it. That time you were accused of being selfish, when you were simply setting a boundary. That moment someone called you weak for showing vulnerability. That instance where your ambition was labeled as ruthless. Were they seeing you, or were they seeing the parts of themselves they could not stand? The person who calls you selfish is often the one who has never allowed themselves to say no. The one who calls you weak is terrified of their own fragility. The one who calls you ruthless is haunted by their own repressed ambition. They are not talking to you. They are talking to their own ghosts. They have draped their unacknowledged darkness over you like a cloak, and now they are attacking the cloak, trying to destroy in you what they cannot face in themselves. And as long as you are unaware of your own shadow, you are defenseless against this. Their accusations will hit their mark because, deep down, you fear they might be true. You fear they have seen the very flaws you have been trying to hide. Their projection hooks into your repression, and the circuit of pain is complete. You are pulled into their drama, into their narrative, forced to defend an image of yourself against an accusation that was never about you in the first place. You become a puppet in their internal psychodrama. This is the game being played all around you, every single day. It is a silent, invisible war of shadows, and you have been a casualty for your entire life. But what happens when you stop playing? What happens when you no longer have any repressed flaws for their projections to hook into? What happens when you have already met, acknowledged, and embraced the very parts of you they are trying to weaponize against you? They throw an insult at you, calling you arrogant. But you have already made peace with your own ambition. You have accepted your own desire to stand tall. Their word finds no purchase. It does not hook into a secret fear because the secret is out. You have already owned it. The insult clatters to the floor, inert and powerless. They are left standing there, holding their own darkness, with nowhere to put it. You have not built a wall. You have become transparent. You have not defeated them. You have made the battle irrelevant. This is the beginning of psychological invincibility. It is not the strength to repel an attack. It is the profound, unshakable peace of knowing that the attack is not, and never was, about you. We have been conditioned to see self-improvement as an act of addition or subtraction. We must add discipline, subtract bad habits. Jung's path is radically different. The journey to wholeness, to invincibility, is not about becoming a better person. It is about becoming a more complete person. It is a process of integration, of reclaiming the exiled parts of yourself and welcoming them back into the kingdom of your consciousness. He called this lifelong journey the process of individuation. This is not a comfortable process. It can feel like the hero's journey, requiring you to descend into the underworld of your own psyche. It begins with a conscious decision to stop running, to stop projecting, to stop blaming. You must withdraw your judgments from the world and turn your gaze inward. You must ask yourself, what is it in this person that irritates me so much? What part of me does this situation activate? Where have I felt this feeling before? This is shadow work. It is sitting in the dark with the parts of you that you find shameful, ugly, and unacceptable. It is listening to your anger without judgment, to understand what boundary has been crossed. It is feeling your envy without shame, to understand what deep desire it is pointing to. It is looking at your fear in the face, to understand what part of you is asking for protection and safety. Imagine you meet your shadow self, not as a monster to be slain, but as a lost child, or a misunderstood exile who holds a piece of your soul that you need to be whole. You do not kill it. You do not condone its destructive behavior. You listen to it. You ask it what it needs. You integrate its energy. The energy of anger, once integrated, becomes the power to set boundaries and pursue your goals with passion. The energy of fear, once integrated, becomes prudence and the wisdom to navigate real dangers. The energy of sadness, once integrated, becomes empathy and a profound connection to the human condition. This is the great secret. The shadow, which you thought was a source of shame, is actually a source of immense power. It contains the raw, untamed, vital energy of life itself. Every part of you that you have repressed is a treasure chest of psychic energy that you have been guarding instead of using. By keeping it locked away, you have been living life at half capacity, operating on a low-grade psychic fuel, wondering why you feel so tired, so uninspired, so disconnected. Embracing your flaws is the act of unlocking those chests. It is a declaration that you are no longer willing to live a fragmented life. You are choosing to be whole, even if it means being imperfect. And here's the paradox: the world respects wholeness far more than it respects a fragile, constructed perfection. People may not understand your journey. In fact, many will be deeply unsettled by it. Those who relied on your predictability, on your people-pleasing, on your repressed nature, feel threatened. They will accuse you of changing, of becoming selfish or cold. Let them. Their reaction is the proof that you are finally reclaiming your own energy. You are no longer a screen for their projections. You are becoming a force in your own right. This journey can feel lonely. You are leaving the herd, the collective hypnosis of perfectionism. You are choosing the sovereign path of the individual, but you are not walking towards emptiness. You are walking towards the self, the organizing center of your psyche, the totality of who you are, light and dark, which Jung saw as an image of the divine within. What does it truly mean to be invincible then? It is not a state of being immune to pain. A life without pain is not a life. Pain is a messenger, a signal that something needs attention, that growth is required. No, invincibility is not the absence of wounds. It is the absolute, unshakable knowledge that no wound inflicted from the outside can ever destroy your core. It is the end of being psychologically fragile. Think of it this way. The person who builds their identity on a flawless persona, the mask of the perfect parent, the successful professional, the kind friend, is like a house of glass. It is beautiful, pristine, and utterly brittle. The slightest stone, the smallest criticism, can shatter the entire structure. They live in constant fear of that stone. But the person who has gone through the process of individuation, who has embraced their flaws and integrated their shadow, is like a great, ancient tree. It has scars from lightning strikes. It has twisted branches from battling the wind. It has knots and imperfections. It is not perfect. It is whole. It is alive. And its roots run so deep into the earth that no storm can uproot it. The winds of criticism can howl, the rains of judgment can fall, but the tree stands. It does not resist the storm. It yields comma, it bends, and its deep-rootedness is its strength. This is the armor of authenticity. When you are no longer hiding any part of yourself, there is nothing to expose. When you have already accepted your own capacity for darkness, no one else's accusation of it can touch you. When you have forgiven yourself for your imperfections, you no longer need the world's approval. You have withdrawn your center of gravity from the shifting sands of other people's opinions and placed it firmly within your own soul. You will still feel, you will still stumble, you will still make mistakes, but you will no longer be defined by them. Your sense of self-worth will no longer be a fragile thing, dependent on external validation. It will be an internal, self-generating reality. You will move from a reactive state, a life lived in response to the world, to a creative state, a life lived from the inside out. You will stop asking, what does the world want from me? And you will start asking, what does my soul, in its wholeness, want to bring into the world? This is the ultimate freedom. This is the power that cannot be taken away. This is the invincibility born not of perfection, but of a profound, courageous, and complete humanity. You came to this video perhaps seeking a shield, a way to stop the world from hurting you. And what you have found is a mirror. The journey to invincibility is not an outward battle. It is the most sacred inner pilgrimage. It is the journey home to yourself. We have seen that what you call your flaws are not mistakes, but exiled parts of your soul, your shadow. We understood that denying this shadow is what makes you fragile, predictable, and vulnerable to the projections of others. We uncovered the invisible war of shadows that governs our relationships and realized that the only way to win is to refuse to fight. To do that, you must embark on the journey of individuation, the conscious integration of your dark side, not to become perfect, but to become whole. This wholeness is not a fragile mask, but a deep-rooted, authentic strength that cannot be shattered by external forces. The world will not stop being chaotic. People will not stop being judgmental. Life will not stop presenting you with challenges. But you will have changed. You will have shifted your foundation from the brittle pretense of perfection to the bedrock of self-acceptance. You will have traded the exhausting prison of being good for the liberating power of being real. The moment you embrace your flaws, you become invincible, not because you can no longer be hurt, but because you can no longer be controlled. You can no longer be diminished. You can no longer be defined by anything outside of your own integrated, conscious self. The greatest fear you had, the fear of being seen in your imperfection, becomes the very source of your greatest strength. So, the choice is yours. You can continue to spend your life's precious energy maintaining the prison of your perfection, living in fear of the day its walls come crashing down. Or you can begin the courageous work of turning inward, of meeting the parts of you that you have feared for so long, and discovering that they are not monsters, but messengers, guides on the path to becoming the person you were always meant to be. If this journey resonates with you, if you feel the call to leave the shallows of perfectionism and dive into the depths of your own soul, then let this be the moment your transformation begins. Write in the comments below, "I choose to be whole," not as a simple affirmation, but as a declaration, a commitment to yourself, a signal to others on this same path that they are not alone. Let us see how many of us are ready to stop fighting and start integrating. Your greatest adventure is waiting for you, and it lies within. Keep going,